A very, very special guest. In fact, we've got three very special guests in the studio. We've got Scotty, we've got Tracey from the Raptor Rehabilitation Specialist, or the Oxford Bird Rescuers, more like it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the other very special guest that we've got here is Oscar the Owl. And he is just, well, mate, I didn't know that you could fall in love so quickly with things, or birds for that matter, but I am absolutely in love with this little fella.
He's a special little man, isn't he?
Tell me about Oscar. How old is he? Where did he come from and all that sort of stuff?
So Oscar came from South Canterbury. He crashed into a chicken coop and got chicken wire in his eye.
Yes.
And it was passed on to us from the bird rescue down there because we specialise in these types of birds.
Yes.
We took him to see Steve Heap at Horswell Vets, McMaster and Heap. He's the eye specialist. Turns out that his other eye had no hardware in behind, so he became fully blind. So he was born basically blind with only one eye, and then he lost the sight in that eye.
And that's probably why he had a crash into the chicken coop.
Yeah, they don't do so well.
Now, Oscar's a little owl. That's actually the correct term. He's a little owl.
Little owl, yep, that's
Okay.
right. Also known in New Zealand as a German owl.
As a German owl, okay. And now this little fella, he would be about the size of a very large budgie, but the budgie on steroids, right? Sort of style, about that size.
Yep, they average about 180 grams.
And he's just so gorgeous and cute, and his neck is on like ball bearings. He can just go whizzing around like something out of The Exorcist.
Yeah, crazy.
It's fantastic. Tracey, you take Oscar around the schools and bits and pieces. What's the reaction that you get from some of the children that see Oscar?
They love him. They just absolutely love Oscar, and they're so interested in what he is and what he does and what he eats and when he poos.
Which he did out in the reception there. Would just like to apologise to the cleaner at Compass FM. There's a job in aisle 1.
Little deposit.
Yeah,
so the kids are enamoured with him. They absolutely love him.
They do love him, and they can hold him. They do hold him, and everyone gets a pet. And it's just really cool that they can actually see an owl in real life. They I don't know. They just their look on their faces are just out there.
I was thinking that Oscar might be something along the lines of Hedwig out of Harry Potter, but Hedwig looks like he could handle Oscar.
He's a bit of a giant, compared to Oscar. Oscar is only very little, and a lot of people, I think, do think that the owls that we have are big, and they're not. That we do have barn owls, but. Yeah.
And the barn owls, they're the more bigger size. You can get pygmy owls who are smaller than Oscar.
Yep.
So Oscar's a bit of a celebrity in North Canterbury at the moment, isn't he? He's been around a lot, and this is the first time I've ever met him, and I'm just one of the latest ones to fall in love with him. And you do such an amazing job at the Oxford Bird Rescue. What else do you do out there? What other birds do you look after?
So we specialise now in raptors.
Yep.
So New Zealand birds of prey, which we've got 5 of. Predominantly though, we generally work with harrier hawks and little owls because we have a very dense population of those. So they're the 2 main birds that we work with. We get the odd ruru, moorpork, come in. And we do get falcons, New Zealand falcons, but we actually pass those on to the Marlborough Falcon Conservation Trust in Blenheim.
Okay.
They've got Brancott Wines back that program.
Yes.
They've got a breeding program and a rehab program, and it just makes sense. They've got like this $8 million facility.
Yep.
It'd be silly not to pass such an endangered bird on to them.
Absolutely, and that's the kararia, the New Zealand falcon.
Yes.
And that's a mean-looking bird, isn't it?
Amazing birds. We've just recently rescued one from Windwhistle, just on this side of the Rakaya Gorge.
Yeah.
From a station there, and that's currently up there at the moment being rehabbed and hopefully going to be released in the spring.
I always thought that it would be an amazing mascot for a sporting team, maybe a rugby team that's actually looking for a new name soon. The New Zealand falcon, the kararia, because this thing just takes on things twice its size and doesn't back down. It wants to fight and defends everything.
Yep, totally.
What a perfect name for a rugby team. Not saying I want to see any change at all. Not any change at all there. So the Oxford Bird Rescue, Tracey, can people come in and have a look what you do?
Generally, no. We try to keep the public away from, because the birds are wild, and we do like to keep them wild. They can come and see Oscar, but it just causes too much stress on the birds that we have got that are in rehab. So yeah.
So what you would prefer to do is to bring out Oscar and talk about the Oxford Bird Rescue out of there and other that sort of thing.
We get a lot of people wanting to come and look around, and which is fine. It's nice, and we want to encourage people taking interest in, because if they take an interest in what we're doing, it means that eventually they're taking an interest in the birds, which is what we want.
Yes.
But yeah, the raptors especially. They don't like people, you know, and you've got to keep the stress levels low. So hawks and wild hawks, wild owls, just off limits to the public, and they're set on our property in areas where even we can't really see them. It's very hands off.
Yeah, okay. Now, look, obviously some of these raptors, they do see some kill on the road and they get onto the road.
Yep.
The object of the exercise is to maybe break for the hawks.
Yep. So we've been running a carrying campaign for the Harrier hawks for probably 4 or 5 years now. Whenever it's safe to do so, we're encouraging people to actually move the carrion off the road if you can stop. It only takes a couple of ticks. You pull your car off, throw the carrion. You can pick up possums by the tails and rabbits by the ears, and just chuck them off onto the verge. And you're basically giving a Harrier hawk a safe and free meal where they're not going to get hit by the cars. And we're this year we've seen a marked decrease in the local hawks that we get, as opposed to, like, we get hawks from the wildlife hospital at Willowbank, and we also rehab all the hawks for the Dunedin Wildlife Hospital, so we get all the Otago ones as well.
And it's because of you being out there and telling people, hey, this is what you can do, and if you see a hawk on the road, just slow down.
Yeah, that's right. They just need a bit of time, especially the juveniles. Like, it's very hard for them in their first winter to try and, there's not a lot of natural food options for them, and that's why they rely heavily in carrion during winter.
Yes.
And juveniles especially have a really poor rear talon control, and they don't judge cars very well. They have no experience, and you're bearing down on them at 100k, and they tend to try and fly away at the last minute or last second. And they adults will actually roll their feet to pull their rear talon out, and young ones, juveniles, haven't learned to do that, and they get locked into that, and it slows them down, and then bang. And to be honest with you, it's about 1 in 10 hawks that come to us from car strikes we actually save. So that's 9 out of 10
that don't survive.
That don't survive.
Okay, well, we've got a couple of bumper stickers here at Compass FM, first in, first serve, I guess, that says the Oxford Bird Rescue, I break for hawks. You guys do an amazing job. Thanks so much for taking Oscar around the schools too, Tracey, and I'm saying thank you on behalf of, I guess, hundreds if not thousands of people for what you actually do. This little fellow, he's 4 years old now.
He's just coming up 4. I just have to say that, what Tracey's doing in the schools and community groups, she starts with talking about Oscar, but what Oscar does is open up the door to a whole raft of conversation about all our birds and the risks they face, the environment they live in. So he's a real door opener for old and young alike, into some really important subjects and topics relevant to where we are and today.
Hey, if we're at the top of the food chain, we've got to look after some of the ones that are further down, don't we? And Oscar just looks like he's so gorgeous.
He's a bit of a star.
And you've sort of made him a star, and I sort of understand where you're coming from with making him a star too, and he deserves to be an absolute superstar. Tracey, Scotty, thank you so much from the Oxford Bird Rescue coming into Compass FM. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having us on.